What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to talk about 5 things that I'm seeing right now that are working on Amazon FBA and break them down one by one. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below as well to make sure you stay up to date on everything I'm putting out there with Amazon FBA right now. So what's working on Amazon right now? So for number one, we're going to get into products. So what products are working right now? What am I seeing that has an advantage in the marketplace? Obviously, we all know products is the hardest part of this thing. We cannot settle for a bad product idea. So for the first type of product I see doing well on Amazon right now is harder products. So what I mean by that are products that are extremely hard for a newbie, someone just walking into this as a part-time hobby launching on Amazon. This could be glass products is kind of the general overview of a hard product because it can break in shipment. It needs a lot of hands-on attention to make sure that it's cushioned, it's not too thin, it doesn't come broken, all that good stuff. But to be more precise, I mean products that can be hard in any facet, not just glass products, but maybe they're really hard to source, right? You have to get them from the USA or Canada or Europe or something of that sort. There's more additional testing that needs to be done. Maybe it's a CPC, for baby products. Maybe it's in hazmat. So essentially products that I tell everybody on YouTube to stay away from, like our ideal product types, which of course, those are just boxes and criteria of an ideal product. But the harder markets that require extra steps are way less saturated today because no one wants to take those extra steps. No one wants to do the hard thing. So if you're willing to take those extra steps, you're willing to put in the work, just think of the 99% of people who quit to get in those markets. Of course, in these harder markets, we see a lot less saturation because no one wants to do them. Competitors are a lot more scarce. So if you put in that hard work, you're more likely to have success like right away on Amazon because there's not enough supply for the demand out there versus when it comes to, spatulas or lemon squeezers, when you could just order these right off the shelf from China, put them on Amazon. You don't see that in harder markets because it's too hard. So if you're willing to put in that work, those products are doing super well right now. Another product type I'm seeing that's doing really well right now is something that's at least 2 steps ahead of the market. And what I mean by that is there's some type of creative outlet for the product, whether it looks different, it is different, it stands out from the crowd, you've added value in some way, you've niched down to a certain keyword that you're hitting specifically just to dominate that long tail keyword where there's an opening in the market. So everything I just said right there, if you pick 2 or more of those, whether you're adding value, you're looking different. I wish looking different didn't matter in Amazon, but it does. If you just look the same as everybody else, you'll be drowned out by all the noise. But by just looking different, you're going to attract attention away from all the other generic looking products and you're going to drive clicks to your listing. So it does matter. And obviously you can't do that in a stupid way. You can't just put something outlandish there. It's got to make sense for that niche. And obviously creativity can go into looking different, but it also could be for better functionality and even branding. So if we brand the right way for that market, we're going to see an advantage, right? That also makes us look different. That also makes us stand out. So they all are kind of intertwined together when it comes to this, right? So if we're in, men's lotion, we don't want to have pink packaging with a girl on the cover, right? We want to have some big burly man on the front of that package, probably blue packaging with infographics and A+ content that fit that description of what they're typing in and who's typing that in. So essentially what I mean by this is we're getting very specific for the target audience, for what they're typing in, for what they're searching for. And then we're branding to that. We're looking different to separate ourselves from everybody else, as well as hitting that target audience. And then we're adding value for that target audience. So we're just hyper focused on the customer for what they're searching for and going deep on that. And obviously, of course, you want your product to be a 5-star quality. Bad quality products just don't work on Amazon anymore. There's too much competition. You won't win the long game. You need at least 4.4 star ratings and above to be calm, to be there for the long run. Obviously, every niche is a little different, but 4.4 is just kind of the standard rule for me. Obviously, you don't use that half-star visual till 4.2, but 4.3 makes me nervous. So 4.4 is the goal when it comes to that. And then margin-wise, we need to be in that 30% margin range with an avenue to get up to 35, 40% margin range. I know that's super hard. Sometimes you got to start at 20, 25% margins, but if you order 3,000 units, your margin gets to 30%, 32%. So you need at least a plan to make more money on Amazon as you go further because we need some wiggle room, especially with Amazon adding fees here and there. And this wiggle room also gives us the opportunity to be more aggressive on our pricing strategy if we're trying to rank up organically. So for those product types, I've seen those work over and over and over again, and I don't see that going away anytime soon. Going on to number 2 of what I see working on Amazon right now. And this one isn't much of a strategy per se when it comes to Amazon skills, but it's super important. Honestly, it's probably the number 1 reason people fail is they don't become obsessive over this. And what I mean by this is people have a foot in and a foot out, right? They're working their 9-to-5 job. I get it, you're busy, you have a lot of stuff going on, but you'd expect just to show up and put a couple hours in every day and be successful. No, this is a business. You have to get a bit obsessive. You have to nerd out over this stuff. You have to get better and better and work on your craft and go down rabbit holes, whether that's for advertising, listing creation, AI to help with listing creation. Watching that second, third YouTube video, obviously action over watching YouTube videos. But still, if you have that mindset where you're taking action, you watch a few YouTube videos, you get inspired to go try some new things, nerd out over it. So you can't just be half in, half out. Yes, family comes first. Yes, if you have a 9 to 5, you got to show up there to pay the bills until you can transfer out of that if that's your goal, of course. You have to become obsessed. You have to become an entrepreneur. You can't just play the part of an entrepreneur and expect success. So the people doing the best in this business, they're nerding out. They're talking about this stuff all day long. They get excited talking about new stuff. When it comes to Amazon, obviously finding a community is a huge part in that because they're all talking about the same stuff. But there's people I work with that just kind of go through the motions, and there's people I work with that are in the trenches every day, obsessed with this stuff. And 10 out of 10 times, those people are doing much better than the people who are just playing entrepreneur. So for number 3, what's working on Amazon is doing ferocious financial tracking and tracking in general. So there's so many people that have no idea what's going on in their finances and their business. This is a huge mistake. This is a weak spot for me as well. I only feel like in the last year or two, I've kind of gotten my finger on this pulse and really understood the money in, the money out of my own business, how much that little subscription fee actually matters, understanding my packages in large standard size, but if I shrunk it down, compressed my product, I'd be in normal standard size, bringing my FBA fees down by, $1.50, which then increases my margin by 8%, which is massive. Or refunds from Amazon are affecting 8% of my total profits, which refunds happen. They're never going to go away. But is there something common here if we dig into it that we can fix on our product or be transparent on our listing to prevent these refunds, right? So if you get in the nitty gritty, you're able to see all these things affecting your margin, affecting your bottom line, which is all that matters. And then we're able to systematically go through it and get better little by little. In a product business, 3% margin, 4% margin, even 2% margin is absolutely massive over the long run. It gives you way more flexibility. It gives you money to spend on maybe more advertising. It allows you to be aggressive versus your competition when it comes to pricing because you figured out how to get $1.50 off your product price. In the long term, Amazon's going to reward you. Customers will reward you with having that lower price. Or maybe you just make an extra $1.50. You sell 10,000 units over a year. That's 15 grand right there to your bottom line. These are the things that matter, especially when it comes to financials. Now, other tracking is important too. So say you're looking for a supplier. You want to track all the data you're getting from them to pick the right one or have backups. Say you have 10 products. Well, how do you do that? Ferociously track what's going on. Have your organic rankings set up. Have a sheet with all your COGS and how they change over time. Understand your profit per product so you know which ones to double down on and which ones to get rid of. Is your conversion rate going up or down? Maybe if you got rid of 5 products that are dragging ass, you can put 50% more time into the products that are working, double those, and you'll make more money by having less products because you're focused on these products without being dragged down by bottom feeders and more things to do because you have 5+ more products than you need to have. So track, be organized, especially your financials. You need to know what's going on. Otherwise, you're going to wake up every day, every month and be like, where's my money? Why am I not making any money? Well, maybe there's a simple solution. You just need to track where the money's going, understand that. You can make the fixes to affect your bottom line. The fourth thing I'm seeing work on Amazon is being able to smartly innovate and smartly expand. This kind of goes into what I just talked about having 10 products when maybe you just need 5. So when I think of smartly innovating and expanding, I don't mean just throwing up random products on Amazon, expecting those to work. Yes, maybe they could all work, but if you have 10 products, your focus is then split, especially if you do that all at the same time. So say with these 10 products, you can only devote your time enough to get to 50% potential for each of those products. Or maybe you only had 3, you could get to 100% potential for each of those 3 products. And on today's Amazon, you can't go half in. You have to innovate each product specifically. So I mean, innovate your A+ content, your infographics, your branding, product improvements, managed experiments, test the pricing, test the order of your images if Amazon still allows that with the AI things they're doing anymore. But besides the point, test your advertising, get really efficient at that, track your organic rankings, look at conversion rates on your PPC reports for keywords that have a 13% conversion rate, you're ranked 20th. Well, let's do an up and down campaign or a top of search campaign on that keyword so we can rank aggressively at the top 3 spots, start getting the organic sales from that, trickle down effect, increase the flywheel output, whatever, Jeff Bezos quotes here and there. You see what I'm saying here, guys? There's so many rabbit holes on one product to go down, to keep innovating, to be in the top 99 percentile of that category, of that niche to beat out your competitors. I'd rather have that than 10 products that are on page 2. Going deeper into smartly innovating and expanding, what seems to work every time is testing new variations if possible. So say you did a product that had 2 variations, one's doing well, one's doing poorly. Okay, we can cut that poor one, add 2 new variations on, and test those out. Say you find one more winner of that variation group, great. You potentially just doubled your sales. I doubt it's doubling because the way variations work in the total market size, all that good stuff. But say you find another winner out of that 3 that increases your sales by 50%. Okay, now the whole parent listing gets a boost in ranking because you've increased the whole listing by 50%. Okay, you cut the 3rd one that's not working, you add 2 more, keep testing, keep expanding your moat on that one listing. If you keep doing that over and over again, all of a sudden you have a listing with 6 to 10 winning variations on it. No one can touch it. You're getting reviews all built up from those 10 products. And all of a sudden you have a product that's not going away anytime soon. You built your moat and it becomes a little cash flow machine. Now for some products you can't do this, but that's one of my favorite things to do around a winning listing. But if you can't do that, then it's smartly expanding to product 2, product 3 in that same brand, in that same niche. So horizontal products is what I call it. So if you're selling men's lotion, okay, maybe it's men's beard lotion next, and you're hitting on the same keywords, you're hitting on the same brand, the same group, so you can get some cross sales potentially. You start dominating that niche, you can start expanding upwards into the bigger keywords of your niche, and just do one at a time. You don't need to add 5 new products. Your time will be split. A lot will fail. You won't give it its full potential. Do 1 or 2 at a time, secure them, see what's going on, make them efficient, and then move on to the next once those are steady and stuck in place. So on to number 5 here, guys. My rant's almost over, I promise. But this last one is not quitting, okay? So obviously you can't lose if you don't quit, but I have a quick story here that shows how powerful this is. So I've had a client for about 3 years now that I've been working with, and he only launched his product about 6 months ago. So 2.5 years working together, no product. And that sounds bad, right? That sounds terrible. Like, what's going on? Cameron, you suck. Why didn't you help him more? All that good stuff. Well, this guy had about every problem in the book you can face. Sometimes the Amazon gods are just not on your side. He had every account issue possible. Alibaba banned his IP address for no apparent reason. He had things at home, right? I won't get into, but things at home that really affected his ability to put time in. So for 2 years, he struggled and struggled and struggled. Honestly, for 2 years, if I struggled the way he did, I probably would have quit, but he didn't. And he just launched his product, sold out in about a month. Product quality is off the charts. Reviews are like 4.8. He just placed another massive order because I think the potential for that product is just that big. The product will come in during his busiest time of the season. Other products in his category go crazy during this time. Margins are extremely healthy. His product's so good, his advertising is just, I think we've made like 2 adjustments because it just runs on autopilot at extremely low ACoS. And because he didn't quit, he's about to have the most exciting, anxiety-filled, right? It's a pretty big order, but most exciting time in his business life this year. And it's all because he didn't give up, right? So I'm extremely proud of this guy. I just had to tell this story because to me, it's mind-boggling. I'm not saying your struggle has to be for 2 years and face every hiccup like in this story, but I've faced my own hiccups. I've had 300K orders that have gone completely sideways. I've made so many mistakes, it's unreal. But here I am, maybe I'm just a psychopath and want to keep going. But every year it just gets easier and easier. All these problems you don't become even numb to them. You just don't care because it's just an everyday life where you realize these problems don't really matter. They're just, you jump over the fence and you keep going and it becomes fun. It becomes like this giant puzzle you're just piecing together. So that's the mindset I wanted to get you into, is that business is a giant fun puzzle. We live on a giant spinning rock and we're tiny in comparison of the universe. I'm getting wild here, guys. So if Amazon sends you, your listing has been removed because XYZ, just know you're on a flying rock and it's just another puzzle for you to solve. And as soon as you hop over that, a bigger problem will occur, but it will have bigger rewards once you solve that problem. And you just keep going from there and your skills grow. And all of a sudden, these little problems that happened 2-3 years ago are tiny and you got bigger problems to worry about with huge rewards on the upside. Yeah, so rant's over, guys. That's it. Those are the 5 things I'm seeing working on Amazon right now. If this helped you at all, hit that subscribe button down below. If you enjoyed this type of video, let me know in the comments below. Usually I'm more on screen showing you guys tactics and how-tos, all that good stuff. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments down below. It means a lot to me. I'll try to respond as many as I can as well. Otherwise, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.